We all know a social wizard. You know who I'm talking about. That one person who everyone wants to talk to is just looks like they're not even trying, but it's just really funny, has good conversations. You just like being around them, and they're actually pretty good in other areas of their life. But sometimes it feels like there is a massive chasm between the us that exists right now, the version of us, and the social wizard version of us. So how do we build a bridge across this chasm? These 3 tips that I'm going to give you will be a big chunk of that bridge if you actually apply them well. So listen well. The first tip is the easiest to apply, and that is when there is an awkward silence, smile and breathe. I used to be really awkward because I was constantly worrying about what other people thought of me. And that meant that when there was an awkward silence, I would sit there and think about how awkward it is and how they're judging me for it. And that meant that I kind of frowned and looked down and was all scared. And if you're the other person having a conversation with me and there's a silence, you might just be like, oh yeah, chill, silence, thinking about what to say. And then you look over at me and I'm like, you're going to start to feel awkward. So you can see why I had so many awkward silences. I started improving my confidence over the last few years, and naturally my awkwardness and awkward silences went down. And from having a think about it, I realized that it wasn't just because I was more confident. It was because I was smiling and I was actually breathing and I was relaxed. So if you don't have the confidence, you can still hack the awkward silence fix by breathing and smiling, because that way the other person won't feel awkward because they won't see you going like looking all awkward, and you won't feel as awkward because when you smile and when you breathe, you're not focusing, you're not as negative, you're not focusing on how you're just ruining the conversation. There's only so much worrying you can do when you've got a big smile on your face, so give that one a go. The second tip is to laugh at people more. Now, let me explain. This isn't laughing at them like, ha ha ha, idiot. This is laughing with them, I guess I should have said. I used to do this so badly when I was kind of starting to get good at talking to people. I was trying to get better at asking questions because, you know, I'm sure you've all read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Maybe you haven't, but basically all of like any advice just says to have good conversations, ask good questions, ask more questions, be interested in people. And that's good advice, but I was obsessing with it. So someone would say something to me and I'd be like, okay, good. And then I'd ask a follow-up question. As soon as I stopped doing this and I just relaxed a bit more, laughed at them a bit more, I saw it got so much better, because there was one time where I was chatting to this guy who I just met and we had like a lengthy conversation. It was quite good. But at the end of it, he went and talked to my friend. They had a more fun conversation and they actually became friends. Like the next day we hung out together again and they were just talking to the other person the whole time and they weren't really talking to me. And I was like, damn, what? We had such a lengthy conversation. It was like continuous. It was relatively interesting. You like this guy more just because you had a bit of a laugh? And really, it's because when they told a joke to the other person, they actually laughed, they acknowledged it, they didn't just take it too seriously. So this stuff is important. I think most people would agree that being funnier is good, right? But really, the goal is not actually to be funny. The goal is to be the type of person who just makes conversations fun. So you want to invite them places, you want to hang out with them, you want to spend time with them, because when they're around, all the conversations you have, you know, one-on-one or in a group, are more fun, they're just lighter, everyone's joking around more. That's really the goal. And you can do that by being funny or by creating funny atmospheres through laughing at other people. And when you do this, you don't actually need to be funnier, but as a side result, you will become funnier. Because if you're creating funny atmospheres, people are going to laugh at your jokes more, even though they're the exact same jokes. So how do you laugh at people more? I'm not saying just force it. I'm not saying laugh at people at a funeral. I'm saying laugh with people by actually appreciating the funny stuff that they're saying. And you can do that by, again, not focusing on yourself too much. If you're focusing on yourself, you're not going to be able to appreciate the humor and the lightheartedness in what other people are saying. Also, if you're taking what they're saying too seriously, again, you might be doing this if you're trying too hard to keep the conversation going and you're just constantly thinking like, what questions can I ask? Sometimes you do need to relax a little bit, and it depends, again, that you can only really do this once you're actually good at keeping conversations going. But when you relax a little bit, you can start to appreciate not just what they've said and what you can follow up on that, but also what's funny about what they said. You can laugh and you can start to have higher quality conversations. And you may need to go a little bit out of your comfort zone, but just give it a go, just one time. And the third tip is to be more sure of yourself. And what I mean by this is a lot of the time when we're giving opinions, saying something risky like telling a joke or like doing a little dance or doing something weird, when we are revealing information about ourselves, so like, you know, when we're first meeting people, we tell them our job or something. When we're doing stuff like this, we are often scared of judgment because they're kind of key moments where people, I guess, will judge us, but they're not judging us as much as we think. So when we're sharing this stuff, we need to relax basically and not falter halfway through saying them. I used to do this a ton. Like whenever I was like telling a joke and people started not listening, I would just falter and look down awkwardly. And anyone who was listening would be like, damn, that guy's not very confident. Couldn't even finish the joke. Also, when I was giving my opinions, if I faced any sort of criticism on that, I would immediately like back down. And you don't want to be that friend who just agrees with you on everything, right? You want to have your own opinions. So you can see how that would be bad. And the third thing I did, which low-key was still doing till very recently, I kind of am a little bit still, because it's a constant battle, right? Was whenever I was telling people I was a YouTuber, I would kind of not say it that confidently. I would say it like with a bit of a laugh. I'd be like, I'm a YouTuber. And what I should be doing is, oh yeah, I'm a YouTuber, so I make YouTube videos on socials, blah, blah, blah. When you light up like that, people are like, they get permission to then ask questions and be happy. The way you tell people stuff tells them how to react. It doesn't just tell them the information. So if you tell people stuff in a confident way, it shows that you're confident, you actually believe in yourself, and it allows them to continue the conversation on that topic. A good tip on how to actually do this, to not falter, is just to commit once you start saying something, just fully commit. There's two ways to do this. You can get angry. If someone's like not listening to you or if they disagree with your opinion, you can just get angry at them and that'll help you commit. That's not ideal though, because no one likes to be friends with an angry person. But that is one way of doing it. The better way is just to remember that sharing opinions is good. Having good opinions is good if you can, but no one cares really if you have a good opinion, if you say a good joke, whatever. Just sharing in itself is a good thing, because people will see your vulnerabilities. They'll see that they disagree with you on certain things. They'll see that not every joke you tell is funny, but maybe they'll laugh at even the jokes that you thought weren't that good. Maybe they'll like the thing you said in conversation that wasn't that interesting. Maybe they'll like the thing that you shared about yourself that you weren't sure about. You never know. And sharing this stuff is how you connect with people. It's how the whole point of socialization is not to be perfect. It's to share. So remember, sharing is always good. Don't overshare, you know, but when you're talking about like not faltering when people disagree with you or when something didn't go well, the fact that you've shared it is a good thing. Remember that. If you want a full video on how to improve your confidence, which will help with the second and third points, watch this video.